Hiya folks, back in the workshop again. This time I'm not actually doing any work. I've had a few requests for people wanting an updated workshop tour to see what sort of stuff I've got, what equipment I use, and also the last time I've done one was probably about 10 years ago, I think. So things have probably changed a little bit since then. So come around my workshop, I'll show you what I've got, what I use. So let's just have a look. Right, so coming over here in my electrical corner, you could say, I've got various meters. That's a capacitor tester. I've got obviously two multimeters there as well. There's a boroscope thing for connecting up to your phone to look into engine parts and things like that. There's a, what's that one? That's a car diagnostic meter, I think. Yeah, I've got one of them there. In fact, I might give that one to Dale. Dale from the Ragged Apron was after one of them, so I'll get that out and keep that for him actually. I'll put that up to the side. I've got other digital meters here. There's a dial gauge for tuning up for my 2-strokes. There's a digital tachometer, glue gun, various other testers there. There's a low volt tester there. Another cheap OBD2 connector. And coming underneath, I've got a couple of battery chargers down there. I've got a strobe light there. What else is in there? That's a interface F Super Mark II. That's for car diagnostics on Fords. So that's basically that there on my electronics trolley. Coming up here for my battery drills, I mostly use DeWalt stuff, although I have got this, what's this one? Clark impact driver, which I need to get some more batteries for that, to be honest with you. I might even look into getting a bigger one for doing wheel nuts. It's not really any good for wheel nuts, that one. And that's my sort of charging station there for my different impact drills. I've got the normal impact drills there. A multi-tool there, which is a very, very handy tool if you haven't got one of them, for cutting wood or stuff like that, floorboards and stuff like that. Different gas torches. I've got a 3/8 battery wrench, which again, very handy tool again for undoing bolts. Someone said, why don't you get one of them? And I said, I've already got one. Just couldn't be bothered to do it when I was stripping down the Morris Minor out the front. Underneath here, various power tools, ranging from hot air guns, jigsaws, big masonry drills. There's a chop saw over there, different grinders and stuff like that there. Another chop saw there. There's a belt sander there, which is a very handy tool to have as well. And coming underneath here, what's this down here? Oh, that's a dent repair gun there, pulling dents out of cars. Yeah, see, I'm learning this as well because I didn't tidy this new log cabin up. When we was away on holiday, Gary moved all the stuff from out of the other log cabin in here, so I don't know literally where everything is. Coming under here, various socket sets and car repairs. I can see over the back there, I've got some electronic torque wrenches over the back there as well. That's a frame for the RSX 100, which is awaiting rebuilding. That's all been, was it powder coated? I can't remember. Yeah, I think that one was powder coated. Wheel bearing kits, all specialist kits for different types of cars under there. On my shelf, I've just got lubes, stuff which I use on a regular basis there. Coming over here, I've got this lift hoist here, which at the moment, I think it's got the 600cc Reliant engine on. That's had new pistons, it's had a hone, new crank seals, all that. That's got to be rebuilt. A couple of cylinder heads there. One's for the 600, the other one's for the 750 engine, I think, if I remember rightly. And coming over here, obviously, this needs a whole sort out, this lot, because I've got so many old bleaking tools there, mixed up with new tools. In here, top one is screwdrivers, plier sets and stuff like that. Odds and ends spanners and other bits in that drawer there. Coming over here, sort of larger, sort of less used tools, so to speak. And in that one, we've got all me different screws, springs, clips, all your sort of accessory stuff you use. And what's in the bottom one here? And again, a lot more, again, screws, odds and ends and things like that, bolts and nuts and things, all that sort of things, O-rings. As well as a whole stack of different drawers there as well. Multitude hammers, different files up on the wall there. So that's that one. There's a valve spring compressor over there. Now, coming in here, it still looks a bit of a bomb site. That thing's got to be moved, that rack in there. That's going to probably go maybe along that back wall here somewhere. I'm not too sure yet. We've got Gary's bike down on the ramp down at the end. There's a TZR 125 over there. There's the RD 250 and the LC there, just sitting there at the moment. But I say, coming in here, this used to be my old powder coating booth here. This used to be the outside wall. I had a fan there, which I used to spray the stuff here, and it used to suck all the stuff out outside. This would have been outside then, obviously. But yeah, my buffing wheel and that there as well. There's all my powder coating stuff down there. Different range of hacksaws over there. Over here was all my lawnmower repair stuff in there. Different stuff for lawnmowers and that. All polishes and stuff on the top shelf there. There's my part washer there, which I haven't got access to at the moment, obviously, because that's on there, so I've got to sort that out. And underneath there's loads of different car repair books and stuff like that. Coming over here, just a small rack of nuts and bolts and things like that. That's the 850 engine, which I'm going to be trying to get that started in an up-and-coming video, because I bought that as a runner, but he said it was a smoky engine, which I'm not too worried about that, because I could do the valve stem oil seals on that as well. What have we got under there? Oh, there's the fizzy engine there, and also the RSX 100 engine. What's under there? More engine stuff and spares for the fizzies. Over here is a rock tumbler. And my ultrasonic cleaner in the corner, where I clean all my carburetors and stuff like that up. Now my compressor down here come from GT Air. I think it's a 150 litre one, and I can't remember the CFM on it. I'd have to look it up. So I don't think it says anywhere locally I can see, but it's okay for powering the sandblaster cabinet. But when you're using it, the compressor's actually running all the time. So there is that as well, just to take into consideration. So, I mean, it works for me, but, you know, it does take quite a time to strip stuff, especially larger items. It can take quite a bit of time. When you see it on YouTube, I speed it up on there, so it don't actually take that fast. It can take a good hour or whatever, so you have to keep stopping after about an hour and letting this thing rest off 3/4 of an hour. I've also got another portable sandblasting unit there, which I don't use very often. I did have that filled with soda at one stage. I can't remember if it's still in there. I'm not too sure. A few signs on the wall there. That's the one Mixed Mowers bought me probably about 7 years ago, when I had a shoulder issue, funny enough. And I think it was the other shoulder at that time. I'm not too sure. But he bought me that sign. That was up on the wall there. I did have this wall here full of stickers from other YouTubers and stuff. But obviously they started to peel and fall off, so I just pulled them all off of there. And I called it Bullshit Corner there, as you can see. Coming over here, oh sorry, one thing about my blaster cabinet is that I've got it rigged up to a vacuum in here. Let me just show you. Down there, you've got a hose comes out of there, goes into this cone thing, into a container, and then from there, it goes up there and into a shop vac. And the reason why that is, that catches all the dust without it blocking up your shop vac, so you just have to empty this out. Otherwise your shop vac will get full of dust in the filters and it would keep clogging up, and that's not a very good thing. So yeah, having this little chamber, you can buy these on eBay, these little chambers, I forget what they're called now, but I've got that as well. There's my Clark welder. That's a 135 TE turbo from Clark, ideal for car body work and stuff like that. I've also got one of these little Netta mini ovens. I don't use the top. I never use the top. I pulled the knob off to that, so I don't accidentally turn it on. So that's ideal for small stuff. But as I say, I've got a problem with that tripping out at the moment, so I've got to actually plug that into another part of the house, which isn't RCD covered. And apparently, it's quite a common thing that they get a bit of moisture at the end of the elements if you don't use them for a long time. So I'll be doing that. But at the moment I'm using my big homemade powder coating oven, which is this one here, as you've seen. Now what this was a filing cabinet. I bought this filing cabinet, and as you can see, there's two elements in there. A couple of lights up there. There's a bar going across the top there, and the control circuit there. Basically, all the elements and the control circuit come from, I think, a cooker. I think I paid about 10 quid for, I think. Like an oven, a cover. I stripped it all down, insulated this box here, or this filing cabinet, lined it, and this is what I use as my powder coating oven. So I actually did a whole series of videos on them, so if you're interested in them, I think it's on this channel. Have a look at that if you're interested in the powder coating oven or building your own one. You can buy them, but they're very, very dear to buy. So that was just what I did. And it works well. Over there, another eBay purchase. I bought a pillar drill. Or was it Facebook? I got that. That's a handy tool to have as well. In there is all their paints and stuff like that. And then obviously I've got loads of rattle can paints as well. in here, all different colours and different types of paint. There's all me stuff for prepping bodywork and stuff like that. There's all my papers, sandpapers in there and all that. Exactly the same with that one down there. All the buffing tools and all that are in there. There's my diesel heater, which keeps this place lovely and toasty. I've got another one which I'm going to be fitting in the new workshop, but I don't know when that'll be. Probably sometime when winter starts to come, I suppose. And in the back is where we keep all the bikes and the restoration stuff. So it's not worth really showing you that in there, because there's really only just motorbikes and stuff like that in there. And that's basically my workshop. But this is a vast improvement in space. It's still, again, a work in progress. We've still not got the final layout yet, because, as I say, this one here will be going. This is Gary's TZR125, so that's on another hoist there. And again, my workshop's in a bit of a state at the moment, because I've got 2 videos going at the same time. One, you've already seen this one. And I'll also be getting, as I say, the engines out. And yeah, there's that 600cc engine there from the Reliant Regal. It's had new shells in and everything, so that's another one that's got to go back in. So that's it. I've got one of them lights still on waiting to come from Amazon. That one failed for some reason. I don't know why, but that was it. But the walls, as you know, in here are double insulated. It's very nice and cosy in here. The roof doesn't need doing. It's just like someone said, oh, you should have insulated your roof. Well, I didn't really need to, for the simple reason being, this hasn't got an insulated roof, and this has been up for 14, 15, nearly 15 years maybe. And we've had no issues at all. There's no insulation on that at all. So all it is basically the same. So not a very long video this one, I'm afraid, folks, because I'm going away on holiday, but I thought I'd just give you a little workshop tour and show you the sort of stuff that I've got for doing my works, which we do here. But as I say, the sandblasting stuff, very essential if you've got a repair or restoration sort of projects that you're doing. And also the powder coating stuff, very handy to have as well. So if you're in the market for doing this sort of work, it's all DIY stuff. It's not professional equipment I've got here. So, you know, just make the most of what you got. It's not very expensive, but you will need a compressor. If you're doing the powder coating and you want a compressor, you don't need nowhere near the size of compressor that I've got. You can buy one of those little 25 litre ones. I think you can pay about £70 for a little compressor. Or even look on Facebook Marketplace and get a small one off of there, second hand or whatever. But you can pick the compressors up really low, because the powder coating kit I use, the Easy Coat system, only uses 2 to 3 psi in pressure. So it's ideal for that. So to set yourself up with powder coating, you can buy one of those little mini ovens for about 80 to 90 pounds, which I've got if you're only doing small bracketry and stuff like that, and you're set up. I think the Easy Coat system from Electrostatic Magic powder coating system, to buy the gun, I think it's about 140 quid, something like that, so it's not too dear to get going. But you do need the little oven, and you do need a small compressor as well. So there you go, that's the powder coating, and you can end up doing stuff like this, like little things like little brackets and stuff like that. This little one I've done, as I say, the other day in the video, look, absolutely perfect and hard wearing. And as I say, the durability of these is that once you've powder coated it, they're environmentally friendly, apparently. I've been told, the powders, so they're not toxic in any way. And also, as soon as it's cold, you can fit it. You ain't got to wait, and there's no fingerprints, no smudging and stuff like that. But make sure the parts are clean, sandblasted ideally. You can do it with a wire wheel and clip them clean with a wire wheel, but it's just sandblasting's a lot professional finish in it. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here now, folks. Just a little quick one, this one, just to show you how and what I've got in my workshop. And keep tuned. When I get back off my holiday, I'll be back on the cars and bikes, hopefully bringing more videos to you regularly. That's the idea. Anyway, thanks very much. See you in the next video. And until then, bye for now.